Hi there, I'm Beth, and today I wanted to show some of my pattern drafting and iteration process when I'm making my Blythe doll clothes. I was going to put together a quick dress so that I could film the process of drafting a pattern for an apron to go over it. As often happens, I wanted to tweak an existing pattern so that I'm making something new. I wanted to use Raglan sleeves since they're nice and quick, and I grabbed this older pattern I made for a jersey shirt. This pattern has long and short sleeves and otherwise very basic shapes, quite boxy, which is fine with jersey as it hugs the body. This pattern itself is a version 3 that I had drafted at the time. The pieces join like this, and are then folded in to close the sides. It's a nice, simple pattern, but I wanted to adapt it for using with non-stretch fabric and add some more shape for the bust. So here's my templates for test 1, which I made minor changes to and relabeled as test 2. You can see that I added a side dart to the bodice front, but it has a long sleeve and a back as before. The darts should give a bit more room for the bust, and I tested the fit on the more busty jointed body, as well as the default Blythe sized body. Here's my test 1 sewn up. I misjudged the length of the back side so it doesn't match the front. And the fit is generally too big. It's pretty unshapely. The sleeve length is fine, but it could be narrower. And the darts are way too low. The bust is up here, the darts down here. So when I'm making minor alterations to a pattern, I will either sketch a new outline and cut away where needed, or if it needs to be made bigger, I'll use masking tape to add to the template before refining the shape. Here I added tape to help make the dart cutout smaller than before. I'd also trimmed away a little from the edges and bottom of the back piece, so just small alterations at first. Here's test 2 sewn up. The sides don't quite match yet, but the fit is a little better than before. The darts still need to be moved though, so I'll redraft again. Something to remember too is the difference in arm length between the body styles, so I want to find a happy medium for both. Comparing version 3 to the previous templates, the back is a little smaller, the front is much smaller, the neckline curve is a little gentler, and the darts have moved too. I used a leather hole punch to mark the points of the darts, which helped my accuracy. The sleeves are the same length, but you see are now more shapely, especially at the top, and the angle is taken in a little too. Here's test 3 sewn up. It's a much better fit overall, and I used a facing to finish off the collar properly too. There's no outer collar yet, but this gives me a better idea of how it'll look. I'm much happier with the bust and the sleeves as well. I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to the fit of my doll clothes, so I'll often have many iterations of a pattern before I'm satisfied. And here it is on the jointed body. I did think the neckline looks too open, so I will try to take that in the next version. I like the waist fit, but I'm worried that when a skirt is gathered and added on, it might end up too tight, so I'll let out the waist again a smidge. So here's draft 4 in blue. A little wider again in the back. The sleeves are narrower at the top to decrease the neckline. and the front very similar with a slight increase to the waist. I added a note of the rough facing size, which would be added after the pieces are assembled but before closing in the sides. Here's test 4 sewn up. I added lace to the cuffs to see if I liked it. I also used iron-on interfacing for the facing on this one too. I was pretty happy with this one. The neckline is much better and there's plenty room in the waist now for a gathered skirt to be added. The fit on this body is great too, and I'm happy with the darts. I like that the front of the bodice is clear to add embellishment or pin tucks to if I want. Here's test number 5. I've now added a shaped facing piece for the neckline. I draw round this onto iron-on interfacing and draw round here too. Once the pieces are joined together, I line up the raw edge with this outline. So the alterations I made here, the sleeve is narrower again at the top in an effort to get the facing to fit just right. And between 4 and 5 for the front, they do look quite different. Again, I was trying to get the shoulder angles a little narrower, so this added a little height to the neck to compensate for that. Oh, and the waist came back in a little, so it went in and out and in again. The back piece is much the same, again just a slightly steeper angle and narrower waist. So you would sew the bust darts first, join the sleeves and the back. And you see the back corner of the facing comes to just about that central line. Previously it went past that mark a bit, making it hard to use a flat facing piece for the collar. I also introduced a collar piece. I just used the facing piece as a guide and drew a nice looking shape. So I did this over a couple of days, just trial and error, and finally made this last test into a full dress. If you guys want, I will release this as a proper pattern that you can print and sew yourselves, but I'll test it a few more times first. But I can tell you the skirt, this top section, is 2.5 by 9 inches, gathered to match the waist hem, and the bottom section is 2 by 12 inches, gathered to match the upper piece. That's including a 5mm seam allowance all round. So I'm really quite happy with this now, despite the video not supposed to be being about the dress. I will have to draft an apron another time, so do let me know if you'd like to see the drafting process for that too, or if you just want to see it being made and get a pattern for it. Here it is on the default style body. I like the embellishments and the Peter Pan collar. I might try a gathered or elasticated cuff for the sleeve, maybe using shirring elastic. And here it is on the jointed body. I really like the skirt length. Yes, I think it'll look so sweet with an apron layered over the top. It ended up just fine in the waist, although I'll try making it again and use different weights of fabric, as this cotton is very lightweight, so it isn't very bulky. Well, I do hope this helped some of you. I know many of you are making your own sewing patterns, and it can be tricky at this small scale. I just wanted to show that it's not always perfect first time, and that small changes in the pattern can really alter the finished garment. If you've any requests or questions regarding pattern drafting, please leave them in the comments below. I want to thank my lovely supporters over on Patreon who are getting sneak peeks and exclusive content. Thank you, Janice Harding, Cindy Dejus, Ellen Cutter, Andrea Burgoyne, Colleen Elliott, Bronwyn George, Molly Schlemmer, Rhonda Bentley, Jenny Ashton, Claire Roberts, and Katie Lee. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!